Okay, so what do? It's turn one. We have a sheet. We always have a sheet, but we have a nice little player guide here. And I'm going to move all my trays to the side because I want to be able to put this sheet flat, show you what it's got on it. So we have a few things here. This sheet on the front is probably going to be the most used piece. These are all the actions that are available to us on our turn. And remember, our goal is we need to be the King of Lombard. We have to become the Holy Roman Emperor. We can't lose the threshold for victory points, things of that nature. Then the player guide tells you a really nice summary of the hostile reactions, which I haven't gotten into at all. The end of turn cup adjustments, which I also haven't explained. When you accomplish certain things like becoming the Holy Roman Emperor, you get bonuses. So those are listed here. There's a build phase. There's a diplomacy phase. There is a money thing. Well, it's really a phase, but they got a lot of stuff combined together here. There's the win and lose conditions. And then these are ways to, like, all the ways you can score victory points. And there is ways to score victory points at the end of every turn. And they have a Deadpool, not Marvel Comics, but a different version. And there's also what happens when the turn ends. And then this, of course, is going to be for battles. So here's my level of understanding, to be as straightforward as I can be. I understand the actions, what they do. I'm not saying I know what the right strategy is for when to do them. I haven't played this yet. The thing that I get stuck on is there's a lot of like when we get to the other phases, we're going to have to read through them again. Not that I don't know what to do. It's just that like when you're building a church or when you're doing diplomacy, there's just rule after rule. I'm not saying it's cumbersome. It's just I don't remember them. I'm being as honest with you as I can. I'm not intimidated by it, though, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. You can just start playing, and you don't have to remember all this stuff. You can just look it up when you get there, and that's what I'm going to try to show. And obviously, memorizing these might help you to win easier. So I may not win because I'm forgetting rules, right? But that's not our goal today, right? Our goal is to just see the game and play it. So let's get going here. Cardinal thing you need to understand is for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. No, wrong class. We are doing, this is Charlemagne, this is the Marquis. We can have more than one Marquis out here. The rule is I can have 2 Marquis for every church. And I have 0 churches right now, but I can still have 2 Marquis. So how about this? 2 Marquis more than the number of churches you have. So if I buy 1 church, then I can have 3 Marquis. Does that make sense? Now, it's also the converse is true. I can have 3 churches for every 1 Marquis. So if you just remember it this way, you can always have 2 more than whatever the other one is. Now, so I have both of them, the Marquis and Charlemagne. And I think, and just think of the Marquis as somebody who does your bidding, but they're not as powerful as you. So obviously you can't be everywhere on this map at once. And so the Marquis are going to help you to control the different regions. The regions that seem to be the largest problem from my reading of the game is Spain at the top of the list because of the Moors. And then in Britain, you're going to have to deal with Vikings. And so I put the Marquis in Paris. There's actually a sample playthrough of the first turn. And I'm just copying what they did in the sample playthrough, to be honest. And we're going to actually do, our first actions are going to be the same as what was in the playthrough because I read it and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I think we should do that. I don't have the insight of, hey, look at this, we can exploit it and let's take care of it. So I put him here because we had less units to deal with. And that's it. There was nothing more magical or scientific about that. So let's talk about the actions. The first one is suppress. And here's what you need to understand is that this is the action if you do it, Charlemagne, and then if you have your Marquis do it, this is the action. So they each have a difference in what they can do with the action. So for example, to suppress an enemy, you need to have no more than 2 enemies in a spot. So almost the entire board qualifies, but like right here, I have 2 enemies in Portier, okay? So if I wanted to suppress it, the way the rules work is whatever box you're in, you get to move 1 space in any direction, and then you get to do the action in the destination. So I don't have to do like a move action to go here and do a suppress, right? I can just go suppress, right? That's what I'm doing, is I'm moving to this spot, and then I'm going to do a suppress action while I'm there. Now, the Marquis can never leave the region, so I can't ever use this Marquis to suppress these 2. Now, a suppression action, what it does is you roll a number, and as long as it's greater than the number that's on the top unit, just the top unit, you eliminate all the units in the stack. But if you do it with the Marquis, you can only eliminate 1 unit, not the entire stack. You see how it changes based on... And then you have this thing called cup adjust. So it says 1 friendly to unfriendly. So you literally go into your friendly cup and you draw a token, and that token moves to the unfriendly cup. And then there's things that move it from the unfriendly cup to the hostile cup. And one thing I forgot to mention in the setup is your hostile cup has 2 end turns. See those 2 end turns in there? If you ever draw both of those, that's how your turn ends. So you don't know how long your turn's going to be. You can get extremely unlucky and end your turn almost immediately, right? Or you can have a really long time to end your turn. So you have to get your victory points scored in this variable amount of time. So that's another thing to bear in mind. So if I do this suppress action, obviously I gain something for it, but I have to lose a chip from my friendly cup. And then there's this thing called 2 hostile reactions. And what that means is we're drawing 2 from the enemy cup, and that's where the end turns were, right? So I am going to draw 2 as a result of doing this action. And if I draw the 2 end turns on my very first turn, that is, first of all, it's the worst luck on the planet. You just need to quit and go sleep and start another day. But it is possible. I could draw both of the end turns, and then my turn's over after just 1 action. Hopefully, our luck won't be that bad. So you can see that all the different actions, we have a suppress, we have a battle, a forced march, which lets you move extra spaces. We have a gift, so you could basically bribe the enemy troops. There's a siege, which I think is interesting, and we might try that sometime. But it requires a leader. You need to have an enemy leader in the space. And that's the other thing, too, is you have to pay attention to the requirements in order to do the action. We can buy another Marquis, and that costs 6 coins. There cannot be a leader in the region, and there needs to be 0 enemies. Now, to put a Marquis means we have to have Charlemagne in that actual region, though, to make the Marquis. So bear that in mind. Marquis, of course, can't do that action. And then we can force conversion, where we basically just eliminate all the leaders and units in 1 box and an adjacent box if you're a Charlemagne, but you lose a victory point for every such one that you eliminate. So that's a pretty brutal thing, but it's only for barbarians, and barbarians in this case, or pagans, I mean, pagans in this case are the Balkans and the Germans. And I guess in this case they're called Saxons and then Croats and etc. So orange and brown, how about that? So the orange and the brown are the only ones that are considered pagans as far as this game goes. Okay, so that summarizes all the actions. I think the sample turn, it had the Marquis do some kind of suppression or something. And I'm going to just let's try to become the King of Lombardy. That's what they tried to do, and I sort of like the strategy, so I'm going to try it too. So let's try to become the king of Lombardy. We get some immediate bonuses if we do pull it off. And we can also put a marquee there at some point, which I think is also can be beneficial to us. So the first thing we got to do is we have to get into Italy and the Lombardy area, because this is the king of Lombard, so we have to take him out. And so first thing we want to do is we want to force march to get to here. That allows us to move 2 spaces. Because remember, the rule is you always move 1 space and then you do your action, and that action is going to be force march, which means we get to do another move here. So I'm going to do that, and let me show you. The force march requires that there's no units in your space, so you can't do it through enemy units. We move to an adjacent box also without enemy units, so force march is very particular. And then the cup adjust is nothing. We don't do anything with the cups, and we do 1 hostile reaction. So I got to go into the hostile cup, and we're going to draw 1, and we have to do whatever it says. So I drew this guy. It's a Saxons 2. Okay, so they have a side that, this is called like the rebellion mark or level, or revolt level, I don't remember, but it's a 6 strength unit from that regard. This is a leader side, and so this is where this comes in handy. I don't need to flip through the rule books and say, okay, what do I do with this? I just come over here and I see that it's asking you, what does it contain? And so if the box contains Moors, I'm sorry. Yeah, so this is a Saxons 2. See, it's written right there, Saxons 2. There's an actual box called Saxons 2 on the board. So what it's trying to tell me is this goes in that box, and that's all that happens. Now, if they're trying to arrive on a place that Amours is already at, or Charlemagne, or even the Marquis, it's possible they would be eliminated. And then if there's 3+ enemy units and no leader, if there's 3+ enemy units with a leader, you know, all this other stuff. And then right here, you can see if it says 0 to 2 enemy units, you just place it on top of the stack. In this case, it starts a stack. So one of the strengths of this is this player guide is really, really cool. And like I said, I haven't played a game before, but just looking at it, I don't even need to go to the rules. I mean, it tells me everything I need to know. I do have to jog my memory, but I'm fine. And as you can see, I was able to do that. So that's our first action. We're done. Now, we don't have the 2 turn-end tokens drawn yet, so we keep going. So our turns are not over. We just keep repeating our actions until we get 2 end turns. So now I have a really big choice here. I can siege or I can battle. Now, the siege requires you to roll greater than twice the leader bonus to eliminate the leader and the top unit underneath him. You do get to increase your treasury, but trust me, you get to increase your treasury the same amount either way. But if the roll fails, you are forced to keep taking this action until either it succeeds or the turn ends. You cannot back out of it. And this is relying on a die roll. And you have to get greater than twice the leader bonus. So the leader bonus on this is 3. So I need to roll a 6 to be able to succeed. So let me warn you, it's an 8-sided die. So, and it has to be greater than 6. So basically I got to roll a 7 or an 8, and that's the only way I'm getting out of this. Now, what happens? I move an unfriendly to a friendly cup if I succeed, but 2 friendlies go to unfriendly if I fail. And then there's a hostile reaction of 2. Now, I'm pretty sure the hostile reaction is a one-time thing, but this is what gets repeated over and over again because well, no, it says keep taking this action. I apologize. You have to keep doing this action, including the hostile reaction, over and over. and you're not allowed to change. So this could get really nasty, and it's all relying on you rolling a 7 or an 8. So it's a very high risk, granted it's high reward kind of thing. The battle, if you lose a battle, you lose the game. So this is also high risk, high reward. They're both very difficult. Let's just put it that way. So it says, resolve a pitched battle. Okay, so we may have to pull out the rule book for the battle, but I do understand most of the battle mechanics. You do need 2 or more enemies to even do a battle. If it was less, you don't. Obviously, the siege requires a leader, which they have. Okay, so here's it's a big dilemma, and I can see both going by the other way. If you get the lucky roll, this might be the better path. But here's the thing. You're going to get just as much of a treasury boost, so don't worry about that. But here, your troops actually could level up. But they could also die. So let's do a battle, just so you can see how it goes. And that's also what they did in the rule book. So here's what you do with the battle. We're going to roll a die first. No matter what, a 3 is being added to the die roll. And then the top unit here, which is a 5, also gets added. That's super bad luck on our part, because you can see there's a 4. So there was lower numbers available. But we're going to get an 8 added to our die roll. And you might be wondering, well, what does that mean? And I'll show you in a second. So we're going to roll, and I rolled an 8, and we're adding an 8 more. That was the worst roll possible. And in fact, this would have been an awesome for the siege. So this is like craps. You're either betting on 7 or you're betting against 7. I bet against 7, and I ended up rolling. This hurts. Okay, we're going to then go over to this chart. And let me see if I can zoom in on this chart for you here. So here it says 15 plus. So we rolled so high, there's not even a row on the chart for us anymore. The designer basically had pity on us and decided that he couldn't stand making us look any more miserable than we're going to be. So he didn't even bother doing a 16th row, because that's how pathetic we are. So it's broken up by the enemy type that we're battling against, and we're battling against green. So green in the bottom row is a 6/6/3, which is basically the worst possible outcome. And here's why I mean that. So we're going to be drawing from this battle cup, and we have a left flank, or left side of the battlefield and a right side of the battlefield. And basically, all 6 spots are being filled in by the enemy. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'll fix all these later. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we had to draw 12, and you put them on their non-yellow sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so it's 6 on each side, meaning that we're going to have the worst type of battle possible. If we would have rolled lower numbers, it would have been possibly a situation like that, where there's only 3 of them on one side. So how do we win a battle? Is if we can eliminate all the enemies on one side or the other, we win. If there's ever a time when all of our troops are eliminated on one side or the other, we lose. Now, we do have the ability to move more troops into battle. But that also means that we're losing the battle, probably, because that means we lost a lot of troops. So I can pick any of my troops I want and put them in the battle. And this is quite a big battle. So I honestly don't know what the right strategy is, but we get to use whatever we'd like. These level 1 guys, obviously, would be nice to get them promoted, right? But they're also weak. And you can see here that the level 3 infantry is as strong as the Scara, or the cavalry. But the cavalries do have a unique bonus to them that is very interesting. So I am going to use my big guns because I don't know how else to do it. And I'm going to put 2 on each side, and I'm going to scatter them like this. Now, this game does have a pretty cool mechanic. See, this unit here is adjacent to those 2 enemies. Think of this almost like football, like this guy's blocking this gap. So these 2 units are adjacent to him. If he at any point clears out those 2 units and he has no opponent, he can have the option to either scooch down the line, or he can actually go on their side of the line, and now he's flanking them, and he can attack them from the side. It's super powerful because when he's flanking them, he can't take damage. He's immune. In fact, they don't even attack him. He's get free attacks on them, but they don't get to attack him. If he scooches down, then they can possibly attack him. So that's the situation here. And like, I don't know why I wouldn't just fight with all cavalry. I guess one of the reasons is because I don't have enough slots. So what I'm going to do is put a level 1. You know what? This is a big battle. I can't do level 1s. I'm going to put a level 2 in between them, like so. And so we get to do that. And I'll check, make sure I didn't break any rule here. So it says, when deploying your own forces, you must divide them between your left and your right and your reserve. Once one of your battle units has been assigned to the left or right, it must remain as that part of the wing for the remainder of the battle, except the Scara, which are the cavalry. They do have the option to flip from one wing to another. Space in your left and right wings is limited by the number of spaces for that wing, while your reserve contains all other units. The reserve does not actively take part in a battle. So yeah, I think we get to choose whatever we'd like. And it's just saying that if this was empty, like if those 2 were empty, you can't fill this space. So that's the only other part, which of course we didn't experience because I rolled a 16. So now when we do attacks, each of your battle units may attack 1. So we get to go first. And it says it's a strict left to right attack. And then we attack them. And then when they attack us, it's also strict left to right. But what's going to happen is both of these units are adjacent to this guy, right? So this 5 plus that 5 is 10. So that 10 is going to be compared against his defense of 4. And then we get to roll a die and add to the 4, okay? So we'd have to roll a 6 or better to defend against both of these guys. Well, then this guy who just attacked against him is now combined with this guy to attack this guy. Does that make sense? So, so the way they're going to attack us is these 2 units are going to gang up on one of ours. These 2 units are going to gang up on him. These 2 on him. These 2 on him. And these 2 on him. So we have our work cut out for us, is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, so we start with ourselves, and I hope you got a good angle here. Maybe a little hard to see the attack values, but this is a 2, a 3, a 2, a 3, and a 2. Now, the Scara, which are the cavalry, have a bonus for the very first round, and that bonus does not apply after that. If they get an 8, if they score a hit of any kind on a full-strength enemy unit, they get to eliminate it completely. So the other thing is when enemy units take hits, they flip over and they have a damage side. So we don't have that. We don't have a damage side. So it takes 2 hits to eliminate these units. The cavalry, however, if they hit one of them, then they're eliminated immediately, only on the first round. Now, if we ever roll a natural 8 with any unit, they're eliminated as well. So there is a way to just flat out kill them, but it takes a natural 8, and I already rolled that to get this massive battle in place, so good luck. We'll never see it again. Okay, so without further ado, this guy has a 2 strength, and he has to decide who he's going to attack. And I'm going to pick on this guy, because if I take him out, then that's one less attacker for both of my troops. You see how that works? So I'm going to try to do this and get rid of these guys in the middle, which I think for the time is a nice way to busting up the flanks, right? So it is a little thematic. But anyways, I'm going to try to get this guy, and I need to get higher than a 5. And he has a strength of 2, so I just need to roll a 3 or better to get a hit. And I'm going to make sure I'm not going to make this up out of my butt. Roll a die, add it to your attack. If it exceeds his defense, it takes a hit. And his defense is the bottom number, so it's a 5. All right, let's go. So I'm going to roll, and I got a 4. So 4 plus 2 is 6, which is bigger than his 5, so this guy is eliminated completely. And he just goes back in the cup. All right, so that was this guy. So now we're going to move to this guy, and he is only adjacent to 1 unit, and that's that one, so he's going to go after him. That's a 2, plus a 3 is a 5. That's a miss. He did not do anything. So now we're in a pickle, because we got this infantry here, and I think the infantry is going to go after the same one. So that's a 6. But unfortunately, infantry, all it did was injure him. So he's reduced. And you will notice when they get reduced, they don't lose strength, which I thought was really weird. Now this guy knows that the infantry is in trouble, so he's going to try to help the infantry by attacking here. And I rolled a 4. And plus 3 is 7. This one's a 5, so we got rid of him. So that was a good win. And then this one, we're going to do the same thing against... we're going to go against this guy, because he's harder. And I rolled a 5. Plus 2 is 7, and I got rid of that. So you can see I just punched some holes right in their line, and I made it so they're not as strong. Okay? So now we're going to go here, and I'm going to try to do similar things. This one's a real easy unit to hit compared to the other ones. And it is strict left or right. Like, there's a part of me that's like, man, I want to roll for him first, and then I'll decide which one he goes after. But, yeah, we don't get to do that. So I'm going to do the same strategy. We're going to go after the middle. And I rolled a 1, so I actually missed with him. This one was miserable. So this guy is going to have to go and catch him. And I rolled a 1! Oh my gosh! Oh, we're going to get hammered. So now this is an infantry, and I'm going to go after this one. I rolled a 3, and it's not enough. This one is now going to go after the 6. And there's a natural 8, which I didn't need. But I did kill 1. And this guy's going to do a similar thing. And I rolled a 2, and it's not enough. So we're getting hammered on this side. So now we got to resolve their attack. So this guy is a 5. We have a defensive 4. I think, do we need to tie or be better? I think we always have to be better. This guy likes to, this designer likes to make it always greater than, not greater than and equal to. Yeah, you have to exceed. So it has to be greater. And if you roll a natural 8, it is always a defense regardless of what their values are. And then I'm leaving it open because there's a maneuver step, which we'll get to. So anyways, this is a 5 attacking a 4. I rolled an 8, so we defended. This is a 5. I think he attacks both. So yes, 5 attacking a 5. In fact, it doesn't matter what I rolled. We defend that. This is a 5 attacking a 3, and I rolled an 8. Where's these 8s when we were attacking? A 4 attacking a 5. Didn't even need to roll for that. A 4 attacking a 4, don't need to roll, right? Even if I roll 1, we defend that. So now this is the more difficult one. This is a 9 attacking a 4. And of course now I don't get those 8s. So I rolled an 8, and this one is killed. So he goes back into the reserve pool. Like, we can recruit later. And here is a 9 attacking a 3. I'm sorry, a 5. And we rolled a 7. So this one defended. And then this is a 5 attacking a 3. I got a 7. This is a 5 attacking a 5. Don't need to roll. And then a 9 attacking a 4. And I got a 5, which is not enough. So we just lost 2 of our cavalry, which hurts. Those are expensive. Okay, so now we have what's called a maneuver phase. And it says if one of your battle units in your left or right wing are no longer adjacent to an enemy, they can maneuver. And so I don't think that's true for anybody. And then the last thing we can do is we can deploy reserves. And that's basically you're putting a unit out to try to hold the line, etc., etc. And remember now that the cavalry don't get to instant kill anything anymore. So we have to now kill everything the hard way. So I'm going to put level 1 units out because I just don't want to lose more. The left flank is our way out of this. This is just nonsense. So anyways, we just keep going. And remember, if you lose the battle, you lose the game. So you need to have some luck here. All right, so this guy is going to attack him. And I rolled a 2, and it's not enough. This one's attacking him. I rolled a 2, and it's not enough. This one's attacking him. I rolled a 5, and it is enough. And this guy is killed. So we just broke a hole in their line. And then here is attacking there. And 3 plus 2 is 5. That is enough. That is not enough. I was looking at the top number, not the bottom number. So then this one is a 3 plus 2 is 5. It's still not enough. So 2 of them survived. Now we go to here. And we sort of need some luck here. I'm going to go after the guy in the middle. I rolled a natural 8. So he's eliminated completely with a natural 8. That part is awesome. And so now this guy gets to go, and we're going to go after him. And I rolled a 2. That's not enough. Here, a 1 is not enough. Here, a 3 is not enough. And then here, a natural 8. And I know I didn't specify, but I'm always going after the one in the middle. So we actually made some good ground here. So now they get to attack us. And we start with this guy. I rolled a 3. He fails to hit us. Then we go to this guy attacking here. He can't. We have a 5 defense. He has a 4. So now we're going to go here. And it's impossible. This guy can't hit either of our units. We go here. And we need to get a roll here. I rolled a 3. This 6 is greater than his 5, so we defended. Now his 5 against our 5, he loses. 5 against our 3, we need a good roll. I rolled a 2. Our level 2 unit is destroyed. So that goes back into the pool. Then we go here. They're 4 against our 3. And as long as I didn't roll 1, I was fine. Now, we do maneuver, and we got a couple maneuver situations. You can see this guy here has no opponent. So I'm going to choose to go into their flank, which I can do. I can go down like this if I want. I can choose to go into their flank, but only if it's one of the adjacent spots. Like I couldn't go like all the way to 2. So anyways, I think I want to gang up on him. Yes, I'm going to move up and we're going to gang up on him. Now, bear in mind that now that he's in the flank, he can't be hit. So when they do their attacks, they only attack people on this side. So he's now immune from being killed, which is good. Now on this side, we have a double one. So I'm going to go ahead and move him up like so, because that's adjacent to him. And take note, this is what I was talking about. I am not allowed to move this guy there. He can't go up and then scooch over, okay? He can scooch over, or he can go up adjacent. That's it. So this guy has to go there if he wants to do the flank thing. And then this one will go there, like that. Okay, so now we get to attack again. And so we'll start with this guy. I rolled a 4, and I failed. Next guy, I rolled a 1, and I failed. Here, I rolled a 3, and I failed. Here, a 1, and a 1. So I failed completely. Okay, here, a natural 8. So he's dead completely. Here, a 3 plus 3 is 6, not enough. Here, a 2 is enough to hit him, but remember he just takes 1 damage. And then here, a 2 is not enough. So now they get to go. So this guy is a 9. Oh no, we rolled a 4, which is an 8. So we succeeded in defending. It's not him rolling. We always roll for us. This guy doesn't get attacked. This one's being attacked, and he can't damage him, and he can't damage him. So we're fine there. This guy has a 5 against a 5, no damage. And this one's a 4 against a 3, so we do need to roll. And I rolled a 5, so we're good. Okay, so we have to keep going. Now, this guy is able to go up and flank. And that's it. So now we're going to go here. I rolled a 4, not enough. Here, I rolled a 1, not enough. Here, that's a 7. That's enough to hit. Here, a 1, and there's a natural 8. So we got rid of this guy. All right. Now we go here, it's a 1. Here, that's an 8, natural 8, so he's gone. Here is a 4, that's enough, and he's gone. So we cleared the right side. All right, so I missed a rule. I already got one wrong. See, Jeff is notorious. You know that I haven't been invaded by aliens if I continue to get rules wrong. If I ever do a perfect video without missing a rule, then I want you to call 911 right away. So let me explain to you the rule that I missed. It's called isolation. If an enemy battle unit is adjacent to one of my battle units, and it's the only battle unit adjacent It is adjacent to one or more of your battle units, and it's the only enemy battle unit adjacent to those specific units. So like this situation, he's adjacent to my units, but he's not adjacent to anything else. They automatically lose. And I'm supposed to do that right after the maneuver step. So this battle took way longer than it was supposed to. And so my apologies. I forgot about this, and I know I told you I read the rules, but like this guy would have been eliminated without even rolling a dice. As soon as you have him surrounded, he's gone. So if you were watching this and thinking, man, oh man, there's too much dice rolling in this game, that was my fault. I was being a goober. So, yeah, this was a lot easier of a battle than it should have been. Now, there's more to the isolation rule. There was this one guy here. Do you remember that when he tried to attack, it didn't matter what, we won. We automatically won, and there was no way for him to hit us. That was another one. If that ever happens, Or, so if his attack factor is less than or equal to the defense factor of each of those individual battle units, let me think about it. Okay, this is not enough. He will hold out and fight. It has to be isolated like this, and your defense has to be higher than his in order for him to be removed. This situation, that guy would have been removed because we were higher than him in both spots. And then there's an extra rule that says if it's a cavalry, if he's less than one of them, and that one is a cavalry, the other one doesn't have to be less, and he can still get isolated. So it's a big if then else statement, and so look, if you parse through it, it makes sense, but it is just it is a little convoluted. The thing that I was confused on is this a giant and statement, right? Is it this and this? Because see, look, there's an or here. So I'm assuming it is. This has to be true, then either this or this has to be true, and then that makes it true. And so, yeah, this could be a little better. I would have indented these and just said this must be true, and then indent this or this. That to me would make more sense. But anyways, I think that's what this is. And so my apologies, I missed this entire thing. And then what I was checking for is this. If either side has one wing that contains no units, then it routes. And if you rout, you lose the battle. If both sides rout, you lose the battle. If only the enemy routes, you win. And so we have a route here on our right side. So that's what I was checking for. The thing I failed to do was we did have some isolation going on. So a few of these units would have died quicker, and we wouldn't have had to do as many rolls. So accept my apologies there. Like I said, that's what I do. Okay, so now yeah, so remove any units back to the battle cup. Proceed to the post-battle procedure. So, post-battle procedure. We eliminate enemy map units. All enemy units and leaders in the box in which the battle took place are eliminated. So what they're trying to say is that this stack of doom, because remember we did a battle here, this stack is gone. So these units go into what's called the dead pool. And then the crown, the Lombardy crown, goes into this permanent dead pool down there. And that's one of our victory conditions. Okay? So now it says resolve the dead pool. So we have to follow the procedure in 12.2. So that is on the cheat sheet here. Resolving the dead pool. So you have to just read, like, is it a Viking? Is there a Moor in the dead pool? Is there a Byzantium? Enemies and no Frankish presence. I need to read on that one. Is it the blue region? Nope. So it's either going in the unfriendly cup because it's otherwise, or it's enemies and no Frankish presence, which is the hostile cup. So I need to check that. Which one is this? So basically, here's what we're doing. These units don't stay in the dead pool. They're going to eventually be removed and go somewhere. And a battle causes that to trigger. Oh, where are you, Deadpool? It says 12.2. For the remaining enemy unit counters, sort all the units by region. Then look at each region and resolve the Deadpool units belonging to it according to the following priorities. Okay, so there's no enemy units and a finished church. So we have to look at the region, right? So this is the Italian region. If there's enemy units but no Frankish presence, then all Deadpool units for that region go into the hostile cup. Frankish presence is defined as a region that contains at least one of the following: Charlemagne, a marquis, or a finished church. Well, Charlemagne is there because he's right here. So we fall into the otherwise category. We go into the unfriendly cup. So this here, these three, go into the unfriendly cup, which is this one. So that's what you do. You throw them in the unfriendly cup. Now, we get more stuff, right? There's more cash and prizes. We won a battle against a leader, and I think we get his leader value. Let me make sure. Yes, if there was an enemy leader in the leader box, add coins to your treasury equal to the leadership bonus. So there was a 3, so we get 3 coins in our treasury, so we're up to 8. And then also we get to promote 2 of our troops. So we get to pick 2 troops here and promote them, and they had to be involved in the battle. So, for example, this would not be a level 1. This is, we could try to promote 2 of our level 1 infantry. We can promote, our level 2 cavalry and have a nice, stack of level 3 cavalry. I'm going to promote the 2 level, well, it's 1 on each side. So this guy's going to get promoted to level 2. And then over here, I think it might be nice to get a level 3 infantry. Yes, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to put this guy back in the force pool, and then you just take a level 3, and now that's what we have. And then I'm going to return everybody. Now we did lose some cavalry there, so I probably should have promoted cavalry, but I feel like they're pretty strong already, and I'm trying to get my infantry strong to help. Now cavalry is also more expensive to purchase. So there we go. That's our force pool and our reserve. Okay, so now each battle results in friendly, unfriendly cup adjustment, followed by a variable number of hostile cup adjustments, which is located on the table. Then we have to do our hostile reactions. So the rulebook is really cool in stepping you through it. I mean, so first things first, we did a battle. So you can see here that a battle has a cup adjust where one friendly goes to unfriendly, plus we have to do the formation table. So first thing we do is we go to our cups and we draw from the friendly cup, and I got this blue, right? And I don't do anything with it. It doesn't matter what it says. I mean, it might matter, but I mean, you don't do anything now. All it does is just move from this cup to that cup. That's what I'm doing. So then we do unfriendly to hostile, which is this cup to that cup, and it's based on the chart. And remember, we rolled 16, and so that's what this third number, green, that number 3 here means. So that 3, remember 6 and 6 was the troops we fought against. The 3 is the nastiness. So now we take 3 from this cup, 1, 2, 3, and they're all purple, and they go into that cup. Okay? So then we do 2 hostile reactions because we just did a battle. So now I got to go over here, shaky, 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 and I draw 2. And the first one is a Saxons 1. And you can see here we already have a stack of 2. So now I'm going to use our cheat sheet thing again. And it says that if it's a stack of, if it has 0 to 2 enemy units, I place it on top of the stack. So now we have 3. And then the other thing I drew was an end turn. So if I draw the other one, our turn ends immediately. And, well, not immediately, but you know what I mean. And I don't have a victory points yet, so I could be in a pickle. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to check. So when you get the Iron Crown of Lombardy, which is what we just got, the papal modifier increases. So this goes to a 0, and we now have a papal approval, penalty reduced. And when we get the, oh, it tells you in both places, right? So here it says increase the PAM, which is the papal approval modifier. That's what PAM stands for. Increase our taxation by 3. So taxation goes 1, 2, 3. That's good. Our DRM to suppression in Italy is a +1, and there's a token here that has DRM +1, and that's just for Italy. So I put it right here inside the circle to show it just belongs to Italy. So now if we're doing suppression in this region, we get +1 to our die roll. And then +1 to the number of battle unit purchases. I think at the beginning of the round, you only get to buy 2 units. Now I think I can buy 3, is what that's trying to tell me. And now that just ends the turn, but the actions keep going. So now we got to do our next action. And what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to place a marquee. So I'm going to pay 6 coins to place a marquee in Italy here. And I'm going to place it right where I'm located. So what you do is you just grab a marquee. And this crown, by the way, is what you flip it to when it has roads and bridges, or is it a church? I can look it up. But you have to build something to get the crown. So you do the non-crown side. And so there's that. Okay, so it cost me 6 coins. So we're going to come over here and spend 6 coins. We're down to 2. And then our taxes go up by 2. So now we're to 9. And we are at our maximum number of marquee. I can't buy any more until I at least get a church. But I'm okay with that. This suppression being given a +1 means the marquee could be pretty decent at doing suppression. Okay, so by doing this, there's 2, I have to do the cup adjust. So unfriendly to friendly, and then 2 hostile reactions. So here's an interesting one. Unfriendly goes to friendly. So I grab one of these and put it in the friendly cup, and then I do 2 from the hostile cup. So let's do the first one. Which is, they're both pagans, Moravia and Avar. So Moravia is empty, and I'm going to try to, there's something about this surface that it's causing, like, does that cause a problem for you? Because it does for me. It's creating like a light issue. And so I'll try to reach around with the right arm, because my right arm isn't triggering it, see? It's only when my left arm comes in. So, all right, I'll try to do that. Okay, so we keep going. Our first turn is not yet over. Okay, so, but it can at any minute, and we still have yet to score victory points. So how on earth do we score victory points, you might ask? Oh, we got 1 right there. The papal approval modifier increase gives us 1. So we actually scored 1 point. Let me do that while I'm holding your camera in my one arm. So there we go. We got 1 victory point. In order to succeed from this turn, we need 3. Okay. Now, granted, when the turn ends, we still get to do things like buy bridges and roads and build churches. I mean, we still have to finish the turn. What I'm talking about is the action phase ends when we draw that second one. So don't think that you're finished just because we drew the end turn. I mean, we can still build bridges and roads, and you can see that that's how we score points. And at the end of every turn, we're going to get 1 point if we had a level 4 battle unit, which we don't. I did that on purpose. If we have an enemy-free region, which I believe includes the blue region, which is currently enemy-free. Intrigue markers. The Iron Crown of Lombardy is going to score us 1 point every turn. So that's why I went after it with my first set of actions. So I was able to get a point for having the PAM go up, and I'm going to get a point for the Iron Crown at the end of every round. So I thought that was pretty good. And we're also going to get a point for every marquee. So by having a second marquee, we're already going to have over 3 points. So obviously, if we have a finished church, and then per 5 coins in the treasury. So I think we're sitting pretty for this first turn. So Jeff won't hit the world record of losing on turn 1. I think rules-wise, the biggest miss, of course, was the isolation, and my apologies there. And let's keep going. Okay, so we get a +1 DRM for suppression. And suppression, see, that's my left hand again. Suppression needs 1 or 2 units. And so there's a part of me that's like, you know what, let's just suppress the crap out of them. Otherwise, I need money, and I'm looking to see what can I do to get more money. And I don't have a lot of options right now. I cannot become the Holy Emperor yet. Yeah, let's clear. We're going to do a Napoleon here. Let's clear out the Italy. We're doing an Italy campaign. So I'm going to do a suppress. So I move here and I suppress. The number is 5, which is pretty high. And the suppress action says roll. And if you're greater than the resistance of the top unit, we eliminate all units in the box. Okay, so it's a 5 that I need. And I get a +1 because of our little bonus. So right there is a 5. And actually I needed a 6. So I got lucky. Because I can't tie it. I have to be greater than. So I got a 6. And so both of these units are eliminated. And they go into the dead pool, but we don't do dead pool resolution yet. Remember? That was because of a battle. So they're just going to sit here in the dead pool until that happens. So that occurs. A friendly goes to unfriendly as a result of this. And then we do 2 hostile reactions. So here's our first one, and here's our second one. And I'm using that left arm again. I may want to move to the other side of the table. So we have Avars, which is now 3. So the pagans are getting strong. And then this one is a Saxons 1. Now, we already have 3 there. And according to this chart, if you have +3 enemy units and no leader, it gets placed as a leader. So this guy gets flipped over, and see that little +2? He's now a leader on that stack. Okay. We didn't hit end turn, so we get to keep going, and I'm going to suppress again. Let's clear out all of Italy. So this one, I need a 5 or better, or a 4 or better, because I get a +1. So this is 50-50 odds. And look at that, I got an 8. There's some rolling for you. So I'm gonna do my right arm, and we just eliminate 2 more units. We move a friendly to the unfriendly cup. So I'm taking one of these, moving it over, and I draw 2 from here. And I don't think I get anything for the suppression other than we just basically emptied Italy completely. Okay, so there's our end turn, and then Moravia gets another unit. So I put the unit down first. We now trigger the end turn sequence. Okay, so I do have to get out the rule book, because this is where I read the rules, but there's just a lot of stuff happening, and I'm talking about a lot of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and I will see you in a few minutes. I just don't want to go much over an hour. So thanks for watching. Stay awesome. It's been quite fun so far. It's also, there's a lot of thinking going on. There's a lot of stuff to do. It's not, it's not like the Iwo Jima series I just did where there's a million rules you have to remember. And of course, I'm still succeeding at not remembering them. But that's all good. Thank you for watching. Stay awesome.